Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I
Sorry,
wasn't
I
expecting
was
it to
expecting
take
it
so fast.
so fast. One second. I'm gonna put my headphones in.
Okay, no
Okay,
problem.
no
Take your
problem.
time.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice
Rebecca.
to meet you. Nice to meet Rebecca. Is that Rebecca?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did I get it correct? Yeah. Okay. So my name is Jamil, and I'm from Turkey, and 26. I just turned 26, and 2 days ago was my birthday, and so
Happy birthday.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So how are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Um, I am from Canada, but
Yeah.
I'm currently living in Mexico. And yeah, today is a beautiful day. I just came back from the beach for a little coffee break. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So today was my off day, and so I decided to, give it a shot, Cambly. So here I am.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You have had an account before, right? On Cambly?
Yeah, I did, but I don't know what happened to that account. This is my new account, and yeah.
Hmm.
So I've been using Cambly maybe 3 years or so, on
Mm-hmm.
and off.
Mm-hmm.
So this year I said to myself, why not be consistent with that? So here I am.
There you go. Good, good. What's the motivation? What do you need
Motivate.
English for?
Actually, I'm not here to practice my English because I've been, studying English for over 8 years or so,
Okay.
and I've done some translation stuff in Georgia, so
Okay.
at universities, and so I'm just here to, I'm not to get rusty in terms of
Mm,
language wise. Yeah,
okay. Just maintain your
yeah, yeah,
English.
absolutely.
I see. Yeah. Very good. Excuse me. So you said you were doing translation stuff in Georgia?
I was in my previous life. Now I work as a airport officer at one of the world's most prestigious airports in the world here in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You're an officer, airport
yeah,
officer? Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Well, you need English for this, right?
I know, but I mean, I have already had this, ability to speak English before I get into that, department. So, I mean, it certainly opened some doors for me. Yeah, I acknowledge that. But you know,
Do you ever use English in that job?
I do, I do every day. I see lots of Canadian people, Americans, and all over the world, even you know from some countries whose name I have no idea. You know,
Okay.
have
But
you ever been to?
okay.
Have you ever been to Turkey before? I mean,
No, not really. I've been to the airport. I had a 10-hour layover once, but it was
hmm
still like, it was kind of the end of COVID, so it was not easy to leave the
hmm
airport.
I know,
So
I know,
I
I know,
stayed 10 hours in the airport.
I know what it's like to to have restrictions. You had to you put your mask on all the time, and yeah, I know
Yeah,
it.
I bet working in the airport, especially. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
at the time of COVID, I wasn't working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
fortunately, but I know it was like. I got the news from my friends. Working at the time of COVID, and
Hmm.
it was very very atrocious. I don't know how to put it into words.
It was not nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's the only thing. So I love to travel. Um, I don't know, everyone has different feelings about COVID, but for me, I don't particularly care. Um, but Yeah, I'll wear the mask, of course, because I have to, and yeah, sure. But yeah, it's pretty uncomfortable when you're flying from Canada to Thailand. And
By the way, in terms of restrictions, I was a little bit rebellious about that. At the time, I didn't care about COVID-19 at all. But when I got infected by that, I thought to myself, yeah, it was a little bit serious. So
mm,
I tried to be more, yeah, comply.
yeah, yeah, I know. I've had it a few times. Um, but yeah, anyways, hopefully that's the last of it. I don't think it is, but hopefully.
Yeah, I don't think that's true as well. You know, they will try to do something. They always try to find new ways, new novel ways to depress us and to make us sick. And
Yeah.
this is what happens in new world, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, well, they make a lot of money doing this, don't they?
I know.
So,
Pharmaceutical companies, you know what I mean, and
yeah.
they make so much profit off of it. So, and here we are. Look at where we ended up being. So, I mean, I want to
Yes.
ask something. Have you ever tried to learn another language? Apart from your native language,
Oh, sorry.
like,
Can you ask that again? Sorry, I
I
think
mean,
I
have you ever
misunderstood.
tried to learn any other language? And yeah.
Yeah, I have lived in Mexico on and off, so
Mhm.
I speak a little Spanish. Um, I'm not fluent, but I can have some small conversation and
Communicate.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean,
So,
I guess it's enough. I mean, in my case, when I thought about studying English, I thought to myself, and I should be. How do I say? I mean, I'm not gonna say, expert, in it, but I tried to be like that, but I failed miserably. Okay, so it was I
you
didn't know
failed
what
at
quite.
what? Sorry?
I failed miserably, in learning English.
Why do you think so?
No, 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 no. At the time, not now. So, because I didn't know what's like to learn another language, I thought it was something easy, and I got confronted so many things, as you know, and yeah. So here we are. After 8 years, I finally felt comfortable with that.
That's
But
amazing.
I have a
Yeah,
long
it's a.
story. I have a long story about it.
Hmm.
I was born and bred in a place, and it's called Rize, which is located eastern part of Black Sea here in Turkey. It's famous for its, cascading waterfalls and hospitality of its people, and and uh, and deep love for the Turkish flag. It's very nationalist, I guess. So.
Okay.
But it's such a small place. Especially the job prospects lie in metropolitan cities, like Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir. So, in terms of language, and there was no, uh, so many people who can speak language, and apart from their original language, I mean, as you can see, Turkish. So I didn't know what to do, and but I was so anxious to be able to learn the language, and it's English at the time, but I didn't have any means, and I didn't have any means to relocate to those cities, Ankara, Istanbul, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So and at the time the COVID came, okay, COVID-19, and it hit very hard. So I mean, before COVID hit, I confined myself to my room, burning the night candle at both ends, and voluntarily. But what had become, a voluntary, experience, had become a mandatory, which was very annoying, because
Like
I'm
a
I'm unable to go
obsession?
outside. What?
Like an obsession? How do you?
I mean, I didn't call it obsession. I mean, not in a sick manner. Yeah, it was an
Mm-hmm.
obsession, but to level up myself. Okay, So in terms of education, of course, but I knew it was going to be something good, to be able to communicate with other people. Okay, by the way, I studied history, and I was curious about what they are written. Okay, how they are written in any other language. Okay, so, in COVID times, and it was very frustrating, but I took advantage of the time. It was very unprecedented. I mean, I guess I did my best in terms of language. I, you know, I improved my language to the degree where I finally got the score. There's an exam here in Turkey, going by the name of YDS, which is notoriously challenging for Turkish students, not only for Turkish students actually, and for the professors, academicians, and it's an English exam, and which mainly comprises of passages, and it demands you, to be, how do I say, reading comprehension, and it demands so many things to excel at it. So my first score was 72.25 or something like that. After that, then came 96.25 in decimal order. 100 was the highest. Okay, so after that, I got 91.25, and in the last month, I got 86.25, and so my scores left my university professors in awe, and they were so surprised that because nobody had ever gotten, those scores at the history of the university. So I was a little bit thrilled by that, but I knew before the onset of this journey, I made a promise myself, and I was never going to say I'm enough, because the complacency I knew was the enemy of progress. And so here I am, actually. And yeah.
Okay. And you just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep growing. Yeah. Do you speak any other languages as well?
Russian.
You speak Russian. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you know Russian? Do you use it for your
I
work or
mean,
something?
the syntax of Russian is so similar to English, in terms of the placement of the verbs and the nouns, adjectives, and so forth. And it sounds, melodical. It sounds beautiful,
Oh, interesting.
musical, I guess.
Oh, that's so interesting. In my culture, everyone thinks Russian is kind of like German, like it's harsh
Art,
sounding.
art, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. That's funny. And when I first time listened to the speech of Adolf Hitler, okay, in
Okay.
English on YouTube by coincidence, okay, I didn't look it up for. So, I mean, the man seemed to be so angry without subtitles, okay. But after that, I turned on subtitles, and the man was speaking normally.
Like
It
a
was
normal
just,
sentence, yeah.
yeah,
It just the tone. the
yes, yes, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
It's true also, like you could read the same passage and make it sound nice, you could make it sound scary, intense.
Yes.
Tone is important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. In my case, whenever I talk to somebody who is from, your country and America and so on and so forth, and they will thought I'm kind of, because the tone I'm using is a little bit, I wouldn't say, maybe coarse, and that,
Okay.
they will say, "Have you ever been to Germany? Do
Oh.
you have any relative living there?" I don't know how it does sound, but I was encountered with that, and so I guess it's similar to somebody living in Germany.
um, I guess like Turkish has a slight, like just when we're looking at it from English, it is like slightly coarser. I wouldn't say it's a very um, to me, Russian or German is much more. But I think maybe Turkish has some element. I think you guys have that a little more of the like back of the throat in some pronunciation.
Yes, yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. But in general, I think English, especially American, we have like this kind of like almost too friendly, like we, and I think that's a stereotype of our culture, like a puppy dog, like super friendly, but
yeah,
for no reason, and and it doesn't always mean anything. Like it doesn't necessarily mean we are actually friendly, but the
I
way
know, I
that
know it.
we speak comes off like in this kind of way. Um, that's something that I observe. I just observed this because I teach. I've been teaching for many years, and I've been traveling and living abroad for many years.
You know how things are, abroad. Because, here's the thing. Do you know the reason behind that? I mean, the people of your country. I mean, the people of Wales, as uh, seemingly being nice. I mean, but they're normal. Like you said, puppy dog. Because you know, it's I read it somewhere, but I don't know where it is. It's been a long time. So when the Italians moved to States, so the Americans would greet them just by smiling because
Okay.
they didn't know the language of each other.
Uh-huh.
So it has
Yeah.
become a cultural thing, as far as I know.
It could make sense, like when you have to communicate with lots of different cultures,
Yes,
you emphasize things like your tone and your body language
yes,
more. Like you try harder to communicate without the words. So I think
and
that could have an influence. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you try to smile, not to give the impression, of an enmity. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny. I'm curious, like, so they were smiling to the Italians. I'm curious, what about other ethnicities?
I I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit contagious topic. It would be. So let's not get into that. I guess because whenever I talk to somebody who's a little bit political, and they always get, I wouldn't say angry, but anxious.
Oh, I don't mean to actually, yeah, I just curious. Just because I know, like, the experience with the native people is
Okay, here's
very
the thing.
different.
Let's.
Yeah.
I mean, after uh, the attack of Twin Towers,
Uh huh.
11 September. I mean, the American people wouldn't smile at Muslims, right? So
Well, it would depend. Like, there is, I think most people now, like, can be logical that,
no, but I'm talking about at the time.
yeah, there's a level of fear and propaganda.
Yeah,
So,
I know it. Yeah.
for this, like, racial profiling. Yeah. And the same goes for, like, just black people in America too, Asians during COVID. With,
Yeah, I know it. I mean,
yeah.
it's saddening, it's
Yeah.
not nice, but so we gotta be able to educate ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
to get rid of these racial discriminations. As far
Mm-hmm.
as I mean, as far as I know,
Yeah, we have to sit down and talk to each other.
people
That's
do not stand
how.
and talk to each other. They
Mm-hmm.
just, prefer to attack each other verbally,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes physically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, because when we talk to each other, then we meet the human, and we realize we have more in common than we have different, and we can understand why people do things differently than the way we do things. And maybe that makes sense. maybe that's cool. Maybe that's better. You know, I think especially being like Canadian or American, there is unfortunately like an attitude that it's like the best, right? That this is the best, everyone else is just not as good. So there is a level of that thinking kind of baked into the culture. So especially like Eastern culture versus Western culture. So it's just it's very interesting to me. I love Asia. I've lived in Asia for a lot of time, and it's really opened my eyes. And I can explain to my friends or my family like, oh no, like you're thinking about that wrong. Like that's not what that means. Like we are looking at things from our culture, from our vision, but we're misunderstanding things a lot of times.
Do they understand what you mean actually?
So, for example, like when it comes to religion, like my parents are very Christian. So when I sometimes explain things about Muslim. I have lots of Muslim students. I've gotten to talk like this.
Yeah.
I have lived in Thailand. It's a Buddhist country, and here in Mexico, it's Catholic, but that's not their original practice. Originally, they're just like native people, very spiritual. So, you know, people are for example, my parents are looking at, let's say,
From their own perspective.
from their view, and they don't actually understand. So from that view, maybe it looks silly, maybe it doesn't make sense, but this because it's not the full picture. They don't understand. Yeah.
I guess when you talk to them like that, they would get angry at you, as far as I know, because this is not the first time I see somebody whose parents are, strictly Christian. I'm not saying that being strictly Christian is a bad thing. What I see here in what I would say about it would be that, you know, people tend to put their views about somebody else's views. You know what I mean? And that they always, I mean, they're talking to each other, but they do not, listen to each other. They just, wait their turn to impose their own views on another person's views. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing. So we have to actually talk to each other and listen. And then we wouldn't, it would be impossible to create war when you can't put these ideas in the people's minds, like that good versus evil, us versus them, You're fighting for the good, for the good side, for freedom, for peace. Like we're all people. There is no
in
us
history,
and them. Yeah.
In history, lots of prominent figures thought that. I mean, I'm talking about bad ones. They thought they were doing something good, but they weren't actually. So this is the fundamental reason, to be. It should be taken into consideration, but nobody does. I mean, the people who do. I mean, what I say here, they're very, very few. That's why the world is the way it is now.
But I think it's becoming more. I mean, we have, like, look at us right now. You're in Turkey. I'm Canadian. We can chat on a video call and have a conversation, which we couldn't do even 20 years ago. We couldn't do.
Yep. It's
and we can travel much easier, and we have YouTube and all these things. Yeah.
By the way, in your country, there is a man going by the name of Jordan Peterson. Do you know him?
I've heard this name. Is he like a psychologist? Yeah,
Behavioral
he's a
behavioral
psychologist.
psychologist. Yep.
I feel like people in Europe know who this. You are like the third person to mention him, and I
Really?
don't. As a Canadian, I don't know who he is, but I've heard from my students about this guy.
Really? I mean, he's he's very prominent and very famous, and he has made so many logical points. I mean he's a clinical psychologist and has many experience the with his patients. So his videos are being viewed by millions and millions. So I
Why do
love
you
him.
like him? What do you like about his style or what he talks about?
I guess it would be something like masculinity. Because okay, here's the thing: you don't have to agree with with the things that he said on online, but I guess he is he's somebody who is good for society. And if you had if time to watch what he's saying on online a little bit, maybe you would you would give him credit for the things he said.
Okay. I would say there's a guy in Canada that's more famous, Dr. Gabor Mate.
What is his name?
Dr. Gabor Mate. Wait, is it Gabor Mate or Mate Gabor? Dr. Gabor Mate. He's he's very famous now.
I
He's
mean,
in his
what is it?
80s.
What is he doing? He's what?
He's two things. He's a psychologist and he is a doctor, a physical health doctor. He dealt with chronic illness, lots of cancer patients, MS, Alzheimer's, like chronic illness that is terminal. And he's also a full psychologist. So he's one of few people who can see both sides of health, of the
How many
mind and
follow?
body.
Yeah. How many followers does he have on YouTube?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I
guess
don't.
he may not be as famous as Jordan Peterson is.
Oh, but who cares about that? How many followers on YouTube?
No,
But
no. In terms of views, it does matter because I don't know how many people have watched the videos of the guy you said, but
I don't think
the
he has a channel. I think he is just on people's podcasts and he has books and he has
the
like an Instagram, but he's like 85 years old, so he doesn't
Jordan
manage
is
it
also
himself.
Jordan is also 60 or something. Yeah.
So he's just
By the
he's
way, I'm not trying to pit themselves again, against, but I mean, I'm sure that they're both good for society.
yeah, yeah. If you like the other guy, you might like this guy too. That's why I was
I guess
mentioning
so.
him.
This is
Yeah,
what I mean. Yeah.
he has some really good books that are controversial because he understands both sides, and not many people do. Not many people are a full doctor and a full psychologist with 50 years of research.
Yeah, it's a
So,
phenomenal thing actually,
yeah.
to be able to get experience in both fields. It's I cannot say anything.
But yeah, really interesting. Anyways, Jamil, our time is running out.
I know. Yeah, we actually ran out of time. I didn't. It was very nice to talk to you, and
Yeah.
so
Good
I didn't even
challenge
understand
talking
how it's
on these topics. A good
on Sabah.
practice. a good practice or a good challenge talking on these topics in English?
Of course, it went very well, very smooth. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. I hope you have a good night over there.
You too. Take care.
Bye.